Good afternoon, guys. It's Working, bringing you a quick update on Bitcoin, and we're going to look at a couple other altcoins. Hope you guys are having a wonderful afternoon. We're looking at Bitcoin to the US dollar. This is the one-day chart on Coinbase, guys. And last time we spoke, Bitcoin, of course, had just gone parabolic here. We had cut through our resistance, as we talked about, guys. It had just bounced off our the 6750, what was possible support did not, or excuse me, what should have been possible support did act as resistance right there at that 6750, as we discussed last time, guys. And I think Bitcoin was sitting right around 7,800-ish when we had talked last. Now, I told you guys the area of resistance. Obviously, guys, looking at this chart, there's just not a whole lot of resistance. Which is a good thing. A whole lot of resistance that we can talk about, at least major areas of resistance, looking upwards, guys, looking north. There's just not much there. That being said, obviously we were due for a correction. We have been due for a correction for quite some time, and we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out, guys. If there's one thing, that when Bitcoin starts going parabolic, really, it's very difficult to stop until the market decides to take a break, until FOMO starts to, people start to come back to reality a little bit, and then of course people say, well, crap, I may want to start taking some profits. And we're kind of getting to that zone now where I remember last time, guys, I told you that the area of resistance would very likely be right here between about 8400, 8500, 8400, 8500, because that was our prior swing high, as well as I told you, we saw some confluence. If I go swing high from this prior high all the way down to our swing low, looking at our fib levels here, we can see that overlapped literally almost perfectly with the next major fib level. If we're using the 10,000, this prior swing high at $10,000, we're using that as our pivot high down to our pivot low. The next major fib level was right there at that 786, which overlapped perfectly with this prior high at approximately 8,500. Depends on if you're using the body or the wick. But either way, you're looking at 8,500, and you can see on the chart that's exactly where Bitcoin found resistance, almost to the dollar, right there at that mark. So I'm using that mark now that we have a confirmed area of resistance, which that now is. There's no question about it. We've tried to test it a couple times here, been rejected each time. So now that we've got a firm area of resistance, guys, that's going to be my new the new area that I'm watching, the new plane that must get broken. I need to see a daily candle, both open and close, above 8,500. If and when that does happen, I'm going to start to get. I think we'll be due for another leg up. Until that happens, guys, it's a little bit risky to buy right here. Now, of course, if this thing goes parabolic, everyone's going to say, see, I told you should have bought down here, but that's not how TA works. TA is about risk management. Yes, it could go parabolic, and if it does, of course it would behoove you to buy right now. But you don't have a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball. All we have is TA, guys, and all we have is the money that you've worked hard to put in your pocket, and you want to spend that money wisely. You can either gamble and buy now, or you can wait for a buy signal, which an open and close above the daily, a daily candle opening and closing above 8,500, in my opinion, would be a good buy signal. That's completely up to you, whether you're a gambler, whether you're a trader, or or whether you're just a holder. Yeah, but know what you are, have a plan, and make sure you stick with it. To the downside right now, guys, I'm going to be watching as we zoom in here. I'm going to go to the 4-hour. Pardon me. Been traveling a lot, guys. My throat gets a little itchy as I do that. So I'm going to be watching as we zoom in here to the 4-hour, guys. We can see an extremely relevant zone is right here. This acted as an area of resistance and then acted as an area of support. If we do break down below this area, that's at approximately 7,500, 7,600. If we do close below this area, guys, I think it'll be a pretty quick drop to at least 67 to 6,800 down here. I do have a couple buy orders sitting down here. I do have a buy order sitting down here. When I say a couple, I mean what I meant by that is I've got buy orders starting from 7,600, and I've got them laddered down. My next area to buy is down here at 6,350, and then of course I've got some buy orders right around 6,000. I discussed this last time. I'm not going to go into it too further. I'm in a little bit of a hurry. But anyway, this is the area that I'm watching closely, guys. I think right now we're right between an area of support, obviously right here at about 75, 7,600, and resistance right here at approximately 84, 8,500. And yes, that's a major spread. We're talking about a $1,000 spread. There's no question about it. But right now we're literally sitting in between the two, guys. And in my opinion, the risk to reward is not there until we have a daily candle open and close above 8,500. Coming out to the daily chart, guys, of course, the daily chart does look bullish. There's no question it looks bullish, guys. It just does. If we come over here and we look at the RSI, We can see the RSI here, guys, is giving us some, showing some leg. The bears are starting to come out here. We can see that we've got clearly a what looks like a possible double top here. And if we come back here and we compare that to price on the exact same timeline here, what do we have? Obviously, we've got a higher high. Looking at this, we don't have a lower lower high, but what we do have is price double topping here. That's clearly bearish divergence right now. Right now we're just showing some leg. Right now, that's just something to watch. That's a warning sign. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But again, if we do drop below that 76, 7,500, that's when I'm going to start to get fairly concerned there. Looking at, I'll stand by. All right, coming out, looking at our moving averages, exponential moving average, looking at our Bollinger Bands here, we're obviously just, this is what you would expect in a breakout, especially when transitioning into a bull market here. You'd expect the Bollinger Bands just to be completely stretched out here, and they are. There's no question that they are. We'll have to see how far they can stretch, but remember, like a rubber band, guys, you can only stretch in so much, and typically the farther they get stretched, the harder that correction is. Now, this is, again, admittedly, the beginnings of what could be potentially a very massive bull run, and I don't want to oversell it here, guys. The potential is there, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. But yes, the potential is there, so we'll have to wait and see. It's typical TA, in my opinion, when people are starting to FOMO in, it can't account for that. It can't account for how much how much people are going to start to FOMO in, how much this and how far that could push this thing parabolically, especially in such a new market that just doesn't have a lot of history to go by. So this is, typically if I'm just looking at this, guys, yes, I'd say this is extremely stretched out, it's extremely extended, and this thing should be correcting down to at least, 7,000 or so, if not this prior area of consolidation right around between 5,000 and 4,500. So yes, I'd be looking for a pullback there. That being said, if this is in fact, if this thing could still go parabolic, as we discussed, guys, just on the fact that everybody is looking at this and nobody wants to miss out. Again, just kind of taking this with a grain of salt. But looking at this overall, yes, this is extremely bullish. We've got of course, the 8-day. We talked about this last time. 8's above the 21, which is above the 55-day EMA. All very, very bullish. We've got the 55-day EMA now crossing above the 50 simple moving average. Again, all very, very bullish, guys. There's just nothing bearish about this. Let's come up and look at. I looked at this before. We looked at the monthly chart, guys. I discussed how the monthly, we've got the monthly candle breaking above the 20-month moving average here. So again, very, very, very bullish. Let's check out the weekly very quickly. Let's see. Looking at the weekly, not much has changed. Again, we've got the 8-day EMA that has crossed above the 55-day EMA here, all very, very bullish. And we've got the 21-day EMA here looking like it's on track to cross above the 55. If that does happen, again, all very, very bullish looking signs here, guys. There's just nothing bearish about this. All right, checking shorts. The last time we talked, shorts were down here. They were falling off the board. They've started to rise here. I don't want to say stacked here because that suggests they're just starting to just to stack without reason. They're starting to rise here a little bit. We'll have to wait and see if that continues. And at the same time, shorts are slightly rising. Now longs are starting to fall off the board here, and we'll have to wait and see kind of how this ends up playing out here, guys. But if this continues, and please understand, this is a very, very, very big if. But if this does continue, with shorts continuing to fall off the board here, and longs continuing to fall off the board here, and shorts continuing just to rise here, especially if they just start stacking, if that does continue, remember the market has a way of making the suckers out of the most people. If that does happen, and shorts are stacking just like before here, that's going to be your signal that very likely we're going to break above that resistance area at approximately 8,500, and we may have another parabolic run here. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But that is a big if. I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen. I'm saying keep an eye on longs and shorts. If this ratio continues, if this gap continues to rise, where shorts continue to stack here and longs continue to drop, then that's going to be your signal that very likely the price is going to rise again to try to liquidate those short positions. Now, shorts are slightly outpacing longs right now, not too severely. So I'm not putting much weight on it just yet, but keep an eye on it. It's certainly going to be something to watch. I'm going to wrap Bitcoin there. Let's very quickly go over EOS. EOS definitely looking bullish as of now, guys. We had this breakout of our wedge here, and then as I've discussed, we had this major supply zone between 5.90 and 6.10, and we have broken above it by a wick now. We have not yet decisively broken this zone, so I'm cautiously optimistic here. And again, until we decisively break up above this zone, we have not broken it, in my opinion. But this is a very, very relevant supply zone there. And the fact that we are in it and starting to and maintaining in there, and again, we haven't rejected. We had a daily candle yesterday. If we zoom in here, closed in that zone, and we remain in that zone now. And we have price actually jumped up here to approximately 6.30, $6.30, guys. That's the highest it's been since September of last year. So there's no question we're starting to see some very, very bullish momentum out of EOS here, guys. And this is, typically if this were to be a bull trap, I always warn about a bull or a bear trap when breaking out of a wedge here. Typically, the caution zone for a bull trap here, if it does end up breaking up here, is the prior high. And we have now taken out that prior high of this wedge. So typically this is a bullish sign. This would indicate price should keep going up here. That being said, you also typically don't have a major supply zone sitting right above there, guys, and we have yet to break above that supply zone. So what I'm going to be watching to confirm, if you haven't already bought EOS, it's a little risky buy right now. To confirm buying EOS, I want to see a daily candle both opening and closing above 610, above $6.10. That would put us above this supply zone. If that does happen, that's going to be your buy signal. And of course, if you're dollar cost averaging into EOS, we've got the block 1 announcement coming up. That's certainly something to factor in. We mix a little TA with fundamentals. That's certainly something to factor in. And I've been dollar cost averaging in. I've bought EOS. Obviously, I've owned EOS for quite some time and holding it in my long-term hold portfolio. But I did on the breakout here. I did buy EOS down here, and I added a little bit more into my position when I saw us wick up here and back down into this zone. Not much, just a little bit. But I'm again still accumulating EOS in the off chance that not in the off chance, in the very real chance that this thing decides to go parabolic. Not just because Bitcoin is breaking out, but because we have that block 1 announcement coming up very, very soon. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap EOS there. Let's quickly take a look at BAT. Looking at BAT, basic attention token. Let me get on the chart I want here. Basically, there we go, Tether and Binance. All right, looking at BAT here, guys, we can see this is on the daily chart. We could see that typically what I tell you guys is I tell you to watch the 21-day EMA. And of course, we've been bouncing up above it here. When we broke below the 21-day EMA, that is always your first signal. When we have a decisive break, I want to clarify, a decisive break below, that's always your signal that you want to, that very likely price is going to come down lower. We had that decisive break back here. We broke below it here, but that's not a decisive break. Remember, we had an open and close on the daily, on a daily candle, open and close below the 21-day EMA, which is this yellow line here, on May the 5th. That was your sell signal. That was your signal that we were coming much lower. And of course it did. We dropped down here to about 27 cents. Had a nice reversal here. Right, didn't even, it acknowledges slightly. Actually, I take that back. Very, very slight acknowledgement at 32 cents, but then continuing back down. And then of course we had that bullish move right back up. And what we initially hit what was support, started acting as resistance right here as expected. And we've now just broken above that resistance. Now we have not decisively broken above that resistance. And I'm a little bit concerned because we had this long candle here, this long, what looked like a possible reversal. We had a little doji candle here, then a very bearish looking candle here on May the 12th. And then we've rallied a little bit since then with Bitcoin. So we're currently above area of resistance. What I need to see though, really to confirm this, is I really want to see a break above this prior high of this little microstructure here, which is at approximately 40 cents. So if we can close above 40 cents, I'll start to get rather bullish, even though we do have a very strong supply zone right here between about 43 cents and 41 cents. So again, it's a little bit of a risky buy, but if you're dollar cost averaging into BAT, I do think it's a very, very strong coin. I'm going to be watching this very closely. We did see the 21-day EMA start acting as support. That is a very, very bullish sign. A little bit of a little hesitant to buy right now, guys, because we are kind of stuck between support and resistance. We have not really broken above resistance at this point decisively. We're above it, yes, but we have yet to have a daily candle decisively open and close above that resistance. So a little bit of a little bit risky. But that being said, guys, it's certainly you certainly could do worse in my opinion. I'm very, very bullish on BAT long term. And once we clear this area right here, the supply zone, the top of which sits at about 44 cents. Once we clear that zone, guys, and we have a daily candle open and close above 44 cents, I do believe sky's going to be the limit, and I do believe that that BAT's going to just take off. But if Bitcoin corrects in the short term, guys, BAT certainly will as well. So a little bit risky play right now, but still nonetheless a very strong coin in my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and close BAT there. Let's check out BNB very, very quickly. There we go. Looking at BNB, guys, BNB, since Binance handled this hack so well, guys. In my opinion, I was talking to I call him a friend, more of a friend online, but a very good guy. I was talking to him yesterday, and I was discussing, whether or not to enter into Binance, because I was just saying, I had the feeling that, as soon as Binance, as soon as they open back up their exchange, this thing was going to go parabolic, and this thing finally, we've set a new high. So obviously, this is bullish. Binance coin is very, very, very bullish. I'm glad I did buy into it, and he, by the way, he advised that I do buy into it, so he was right as well. This is very, very bullish, guys. This is there's no question about it. Binance, like Batcoin, like many coins, was bouncing along the 21-day EMA, this yellow line here, for quite a long time. Once we had that decisive break below it, of course, we came back down. We had a nice buying opportunity here. I bought down here at about or actually, I think I bought at 19.2. I don't even think I acknowledged this chart. I think I bought it at 19.2. Or anyway, I don't remember exactly. But I did buy somewhere down in here, guys. And I'm glad I did. But yeah, we've now taken out the prior high, so Binance is now at new all-time highs, guys. This is very bullish. The trick here is, now that we have taken out the all-time high, the trick is finding the next area of resistance. How high can this thing go? I'm looking at the prior high at approximately 20, 25, 25. I'm just going to use the body of the prior candle here. That should act as support. That's what I want to see acting as support. We have yet to see a daily candle open and close above this here, by the way, guys. So this is still, take this with a grain of salt. If this does close above here, that'll be very, very bullish. But I need to see a retesting of 25, 25, and I need to see that start to act as support. And if that does start to act as support, guys, that'll be your buy signal. That's going to be a very, very, very bullish sign. And of course, this thing, we'll have to wait and see how this thing ends up playing out. But I need to see 25, 25 start acting as support. Next area of resistance. Typically, when you have an all-time high like this, it's tricky to try to find an area of resistance. To do that, I try to draw a line and see if I can find a line here that was acting as an ascending resistance line here on a parabolic move like this, which we've been in, which Binance coin has just been extremely bullish, for basically all of 2019. And this line right here is the closest I can come to it. This was, acting as a very strong ascending resistance line all the way up here. Almost, I mean, just such a bullish looking coin, guys. Dude, Binance coin, I'm really very bullish. So anyway, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to oversell it here. But so what I do typically in a situation like this, guys, is I'll look at this. I'll draw a line straight up. So yes, this did act as resistance all the way up. So I'm going to draw this straight up, and then obviously, so this I would expect somewhere in here to act as resistance again. And then I try to find a cross to see if I can find some confluence somewhere with that line. And to do that, I draw your fib extension, and I go from the low to, and of course, this was the first major retracement that we had from this parabolic move. So we go to the prior high, which was here, and then of course back down to the low. If you guys, I know those of you that are familiar with fib extensions, you know this, but I'm talking to those that aren't really that aren't much traders, that don't trade very much, they don't understand it. So this is, I'll draw a fib extension like this, based on the low, based on the prior high, and then the bottom of the correction until we went until price bounced here. And then I look at each level, each Fibonacci level, and say each one of these are potential areas of resistance. Because remember, I don't have anything else to look at. We're at an all-time high. I have nothing else to look at here. So I'll look at confluence between this line here, excuse me, and a Fibonacci level. And of course, the next area of confluence from where we are would be, just coincidentally or not so coincidentally, could be right here around the 618 fib level. That's a real possibility. We'll have to wait and see. But any one of these are areas of resistance. We've broken above the 382 here. So the next area of resistance, possible resistance, I want to say, is about $28.95. Let's call it $29, right around here. And of course, remember, anywhere up in this line here could be resistance. And then the next major fib level would be about 31.46. Could be another major area of resistance. I would expect 31.46 to act as resistance. Typically, the 618 does. So yeah, these are the areas that I'm looking for possible resistance points. And if they do start acting as resistance, as a trader, those are the areas that I'll sell. As a long-term holder, which remember, guys, I am both a trader and an investor. So I've got Binance coin in my long-term hold portfolio that I will hold no matter what, and then of course I trade with it as well. As far as my trading portfolio, I will be looking to take some off the board at about $28.95, and then a little bit, I'll probably close at about $31.46, depending on how this ends up playing out. And of course, my stop loss is right below here at about 20. I've raised my stop loss from my buy. My stop loss is sitting right below here at approximately 24.75-ish. I usually keep my stop pretty tight. If you wanted to, down here at 23.42 would be a more logical stop loss. Just depends on how much profit you want to secure for yourself. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap BNB there. Very quickly looking at Ethereum, guys, bullish, bullish, bullish. I was expecting a breakdown here. Now, could this be a throwover? Could this be a leading diagonal that we're just getting that throwover now and then coming back down? Yeah, that's a possibility, but typically you don't see a throwover like this at all, and you definitely don't see it penetrating a supply zone, which we do have. We did have one, as I pointed out, every time I talk about Ethereum, between about 230 and 110. Now, we have yet to decisively break above that supply zone, even though we've broken above it here by a wick. We have yet to decisively break above that supply zone because, again, by definition, by my definition, by a lot of people's definition, but certainly the one that I follow, is a daily candle both opening and closing above before I call that a decisive break. So we have yet to break above that supply zone yet. That being said, we are sitting in it. So we haven't had a strong rejection. That is bullish, and we are at prices currently the highest it's been since October of last year. So again, very, very bullish. If we can break above this zone decisively, in other words, if we can break above 230 decisive, actually it's about 232. If we can break above through a daily candle, both opening and closing above 232, again, that's going to be a bullish sign. That'll be your sign. If you haven't already bought, it would be very risky doing where it is or buying where it is. I would wait for that confirmation of a daily candle, both opening and closing above that 230. To the downside, I would look for support where prior resistance was, or actually support was down here at 185, then 185 acted as resistance, then we broke above and 185 started acting as support. That's where I would look for support if and when if and when Ethereum decides to drop. I would look for support about 185-ish, somewhere thereabouts. But if we can clear this zone, guys, if we can clear up above this zone, and especially if the bottom of this zone here, which was acting as resistance, starts acting as support at about 210-ish, if we come back and retrace in 210, it bounces off 210 and that starts acting as support again, that would be an extremely, extremely bullish sign. As of right now, again, until Ethereum gets an opening, if you have not already bought into Ethereum, if you have, I'd raise your stop loss. If you haven't, I'd be a little risky doing right now, and again, until we have a daily candle both opening and closing above 232, in my opinion. And let's finally end with the coin that everybody loves to hate, Ripple. Ripple is a bullish, guys, just bullish. There's no question about it. Everyone had been waiting for this. Remember, we had a nice wedge. We had a small wedge here. I've already taken away the line from the larger wedge that everyone was expecting a major parabolic move. That was back in March. It didn't happen. It just fizzled out. Remember, I talked about we had this major area supply zone between 38 cents and 40 cents, guys, that we had to get above. Of course, it had been rejected numerous times here in the past, and we finally have cleared above it. We've had a daily candle now open above this zone, and what we need is to have a daily candle close above this zone, above 40 cents. If we have a daily candle close above 40 cents today, guys, again, that's going to be an extremely bullish sign. If you have not already bought into to Ripple, I'd wait for a pullback, maybe pulling back to 40 cents. I want to see 40 cents start to act as support on the daily chart here. And again, if that does happen, I think that'd be a good buy. And there's not a lot of resistance until we do start getting up here to between about 47 and 50 cents. Between 47 and 50 cents, there is some resistance here. We can see that area acted as support in the past. Then it went from support to resistance and back to support and back to resistance, and until we finally ended up breaking down. And it ended with resistance right here with a strong rejection on December 23rd. And then, of course, we just came back down, and all hell broke loose. But yeah, right now we're looking at that zone again, guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ripple jump back up here, possibly, wicking into 47 cents again. Again, it's a little risky, a little bit of a risky play, but I've held Ripple as a hedge for quite some time. You guys know that. I have not sold it, but I don't trade it. It's just one of those coins that I have, a small, relatively small position in my long-term hold portfolio, and I just kind of forget about it because, as I said, it's a decent hedge. But it is looking bullish right now. We have now cleared this major area supply zone here. The next major supply zone is between 47, or not supply zone, but the next major area of resistance is between 47 and 50 cents, in my opinion, guys. But right now we're kind of stuck between the two, and it's a little bit of a risky play. I think if it comes back down and bounces off 40 cents, that'll be your buy signal, in my opinion. For now, a little bit of a risky play, but hey, this thing could just go. There's a lot of money behind Ripple, a lot of big names behind Ripple, and so I typically, even though, again, it's the coin everybody loves to hate, I typically don't want to bet against it. In the long term, I don't think Ripple, I have my doubts whether or not Ripple is going to be around. Maybe it will, but I have my doubts. But in the short term, I think this thing has a very good likelihood to pump. You know, again, if Bitcoin corrects, Ripple is going to correct as well. But overall, you know, us transitioning into a bull market, I do think this has the potential to pump, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things there, guys. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, would appreciate an upvote if you have enjoyed this content. Until next time, guys, please trade safe. Take care of yourselves. This is Working. Signing out.